It's 19 hours GMT. Good evening and welcome to Joy News Prime. We're coming to you from our studios here at Koko Mlemle in Accra. We are live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV 125, and around the world we are on myjoyonline.com. Coming up tonight, protests erupt in Kpandai constituency as NDC supporters, fueled by anger and frustration, take to the street to express their discontent with the recent Supreme Court ruling on the Kpandai parliamentary election dispute. Also tonight, NPP Flagbearer Dr. Bawumia faces significant challenge in uniting and organizing the party ahead of the 2028 elections following his victory in a high-stakes presidential primary. More, as chairman of Council of Elders of the New Patriotic Party, Hackman also Ajiman calls for end to monetization of internal party elections, warning that the phenomenon could affect quality of leadership in Ghana. And Accra Metropolitan Assembly strikes hard on traders along the Kimbo stretch as its decongestion exercise enters day 2 with task force seizing goods from non-compliant traders. And we have business.
The Association of Ghana Industry presses on banks to lower lending rates amid improved macroeconomic conditions.
This is Joy News, independent, fearless, credible. Stay with us. Tonight, the youth wing of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC in Kpandai constituency, has expressed disappointment and concern over the recent Supreme Court ruling on the parliamentary election dispute. The group pointed out inconsistencies in the Gazette notifications relied upon by the New Patriotic Party, the NPP candidate Matthew Nyendam, and questioned the Electoral Commission's neutrality. They also raised concerns about possible collusion between the Commission and the NPP.
Stated clearly that our demonstration is as a result of peace, and to send a strong warning to our people that there should be a judicial review after 6th of February 2026. I can't give an answer to that question, but we are calling on our leaders to embark on a judicial review after the Supreme Court reasoning. Supreme Court reasoning and constitutional action. We respectfully await the reasoned decision of the Supreme Court scheduled for 6th February 2026. Should the reasoning raise other constitutional questions, the law is to provide mechanisms such as judicial review, clarification application, constitutional interpretation. Invoking these remedies, when advised by counsel, does not amount to disrespect, but rather demonstrate faith in the judicial system.
Well, away from that, Dr. Bawumia is the man. The NPP has chosen to lead the opposition party into the 2028 general elections, but the weight of his new role settles heavy mainly on his shoulders. He had won the NPP primary over the weekend, but the real battle was organizing or only just beginning. Dr. Bawumia has to unite a fractured party, reach out to his rival contestant, galvanize a dissolution base, and outmaneuver a formidable NDC candidate in 2028. All participating aspirants have publicly pledged their support for Dr. Bawumia, emphasizing unity and mutual respect as the party focuses on reclaiming power. In an interview with Joy News, Nana Komia, chairman of Dr. Bawumia's campaign communications directorate, described these post-primary unity pledges as a crucial step in restoring cohesion within the party.
The call by the contestants themselves for unity is the first step towards unity. You understand? So these are the people who have been contesting against themselves for the last 6 months, making insinuations against each other, trying all they can to show that the other person wasn't good enough. So whatever division, anxiety, tension came primarily from the context. Now, when the contestants themselves now commit themselves to come together, that is the first requirement for unity. So it is a very happy situation.
Well, what challenges is Dr. Bawumia likely to face in uniting the NPP? Chairman of the Council of Elders of the New Patriotic Party, Hackman Osajiman, has made a call for an end to excessive monetization of elections, especially vote buying elections in Ghana. His comment comes at the back of allegations of vote buying and intimidation that characterized the elections. But more importantly, the just ended NPP presidential primaries. Mr. Hackman Osajiman spoke to my colleague, Mamiesi Nyamiche Thompson, on desk.
I believe that in the fullness of time, we should look at these things very critically. Our ultimate aim is to let every member in good standing vote. The idea is, and we may be wrong, we are humans, is that when we have about 2-3 million people voting even for these primaries, then the issue of TNT, which is tantamount to inducement, as you say, it's a thing of the past. We believe that we have to keep doing and then changing our rules of procedure. This time, we try to expand the electoral college, but because a lot of them have died over the years, the figures were almost the same as it was in 2023 or whatever, last time. So it's a major problem that we have to resolve, because it's not whoever has money that must lead the party. And if it's reduced to finances or money, then we won't get the right person to lead the party. No, we have to make sure that we change the status quo eventually.
Grateful for your time. Let's go back to our earlier story where Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the man the NPP has chosen to lead the opposition party into the 2028 general elections. But the weight of his new role settles heavily on his shoulders. He had won the NPP primary over the weekend, but the real battle was just beginning. Dr. Bawumia has to unite a fractured party, reach out to his rival contestant, galvanize a disillusioned base, and outmaneuver a formidable NDC candidate in the 2028 election. Now, all participating aspirants have publicly pledged their support for Dr. Bawumia, emphasizing unity and mutual respect as the party focuses on reclaiming power. In an interview with Joy News, Nana Akomia, chairman of Dr. Bawumia's campaign communication directorate, described these post-primary unity pledges as a crucial step in restoring cohesion in the party. Well, joining us on Zoom now is Arthur Kennedy, a stalwart of the party. Grateful for your time here on Joy News Prime. First of all, what challenges is Dr. Bawumia likely to face in uniting the NPP?
Well, good evening to your viewers. I think the first challenge he is going to face is the credibility of the process that selected him. There were quite substantial parts of the party that were not happy with the process, and they thought that it was not fair. And that is not necessarily his fault, but he needs to, in effect, calm those anxieties down. The second thing is that, apart from the other aspirants that he contested with, he needs to bring on board those who Boakye Jakun said had resigned in their hearts. The 1.2 million who voted for John Mahama, and maybe another 1 or so million who stayed at home. Of course, you can always talk about the duty of every party member to support the candidate, but it is not a duty, it's a choice. As we saw, when they go into the booth, they vote for who they will vote for. The other challenge he has is that he needs to reconcile this inconsistent message he's been having. You know, on one hand, he's the most consequential vice president in our history, and on the other hand, he's an aplanke who did not have any influence. He needs to tell a consistent story. And the third thing is that they need to firmly decide that, respectfully, in my opinion, Nana Akufo-Addo is a liability to the party in public. He might give advice that might be very sound in with the background, but I do not think that he's an asset as far as our electoral fortunes are concerned. And if I were him, I would look to Kufuor's model. President Kufuor used to tell all of us that every party has factions, and a good leader should reconcile the factions and pacify them. And of course, everything is not on just Dr. Bawumia's shoulders. Other people must do their part, and if others do their part and he meets them halfway, maybe 2.5 years is a long time, and maybe a year or two from now, his chances and the party's chances will be looking much better.
Well, those who supported the other candidate, many of them are expressing concerns over possible intimidation. How should the party deal with that? I mean, going forward, those who supported the other candidate fear there could be some intimidation because, of course, they supported the other candidate. How should the party deal with that particular situation?
Yeah, that horse has to some extent already left the barn. I think that the party leadership that ran the primary kind of was too laissez-faire. They allowed insults to be traded fairly freely. So now, hopefully when the party goes back to the polls to get accountability for party officers, those who are found to have fallen short can be weeded out, and those who are good can given a new mandate. Having said that, of course, 3 years is a long time, and if in a year or two the party still feels that Dr. Bawumia has not earned the confidence of the grassroots, the party might look at drastic measures. So, for example, Paula Fuku and Kpandai Japon's mandates were truncated because some people felt that they were not being helpful to the party. That's an argument for a different day. So I'm just saying that there is a precedent for the party taking very radical action, and I hope that that becomes unnecessary because he is able to reach out to all constituents. And the other thing is that I think we should all give Dr. Bawumia a chance. A vice president and a presidential candidate are normally different people. You know, Anwar Sadat was said to be very cowardly as NASA's vice president. He turned out to be a very good president in his own right. Richard Nixon was not a very impressive vice president to Dwight Eisenhower. He did an excellent job as president until he got to Watergate. So I think that I'm an optimist. I think we should all be open-minded, and the party needs to respect talent. You know, men like Frimpong Boateng, Nyaho Tamakula, and others are generational assets. So the party leaders, both national executives and the candidates and others, need to treat them as such, because that is how great parties move forward, with great ideas and not just with Choboy people.
Thank you so much. Ada Kennedy is a physician and a political analyst. Well, let's stay on the NPP election a bit, and this time around do some analysis of the performance of the top running candidates, regional performances in the Saturday election. Here's a breakdown of the figures by head of research here at Joy News, Isaac Kufieje.
I want you to look at these 7 or 6 regions plus the headquarters. These are the places that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia actually gained in votes. In fact, if you look at where he gained the votes, Greater Accra is number 1. He gained additional votes. If you compare his performance this year to 2023, 818 votes, Western region 441, Bono, where you have Abronye and Co there, he gained some 337 votes, Savannah, Central region and the Northern region. And in fact, if you look at this, you could see that all 3 swing regions that usually would decide the national election, these are the places that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia actually gained in vote. There were also other places or regions that he lost. In fact, in terms of losing votes, Eastern region was number 1 because there's Brian the champion over there. Ashanti region because there was a Duchum factor. Volta region, Brian again, and these are the other regions that he actually lost votes. If you look at, Kennedy Japan, in terms of the places he lost votes, if you look at losing votes by more than 1,000, right? He lost votes in about 7 regions, more than 1,000 votes in these regions that you see on the smart wall. The greatest coming from the Greater Accra, losing more than 5,900 votes. Volta region, he lost more than 3,000. votes, and Eastern region also over 2,000 votes. All of these areas are areas where Brian Achampon was actually, performing really well. Brian Achampon himself, if you look at this chart on the smart wall, these are the regions that he was able to get more votes. His top 5. In fact, per our calculations, he was able to get more than 1,000 votes in about 7 regions. And if you look at where he gained more in terms of his top 5, Eastern region was number 1, followed by the Volta region, Greater Accra, Ashanti, and Central region. So that's what the numbers are saying in terms of our comparative analysis with 2020.
Well, let's come to the NDC because the youth wing of the National Democratic Congress in the Kpandai constituency has expressed disappointment and concern over the recent Supreme Court ruling on the parliamentary election dispute. The group pointed out inconsistencies in the Gazette notification relied upon by the New Patriotic Party, the NPP candidate Matthew Nyindam, and questioned the Electoral Commission's neutrality. They also raised concerns about possible collision between the Commission and the NPP. The NDC Youth Wing is calling for a judicial review of the Supreme Court decision and urge the party's national leadership to take immediate action. They warned that failure to pursue this review could lead to the party's collapse in the Kpandai constituency. Well, we are joined by one of the organizers of the protest, Stephen Bodo. Grateful for your time. Why have you poured onto the street after the Supreme Court decision on this matter? Hello, Stephen.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm asking. The Supreme Court has made a decision on the matter regarding the Kpandai constituency. Why have you guys poured onto the street demanding a review of that decision?
Yes, our reason for demanding a review of the decision is that we are not against the ruling of the court, but we need a review, a judicial review, for us to prove with more evidence. Because we have not sat on the substantial case, let's put that aside. But we need a judicial review to have explained the 2 Gazette dates, Matthew Nyindam fraud, both of the courts.
And so you are piling pressure on your national leadership to take that action. If they fail to do that, what will be your next line of action?
We know they won't fail us, and everybody pray for good news. So we know our leaders will be up on their toes to file a judicial review.
As it stands now, what is the situation within the NDC in the Kpandai constituency?
The youth are aggrieved and calling on the National Authority of the NDC to file a judicial review on the case. And most of the youth are saying that the 8th Parliament, Kpandai was part. That was when NDC needed more seats. Formina was the only seat that favored NPP in every policy they want to pass. And if the NDC national leadership is not counting on the seat of Kpandai today, they may need it tomorrow and they won't get. And we, the youth, are on our toes calling on the national leadership to stand up on the issue because we voted for our candidate. We know the competence level of our candidate. We know what he can do. And everybody loved to vote for him, and they voted. And then Matthew Nyindam, through his dubious and radical means,
Stephen Bodo,
the will of the people.
Thank you so much for speaking to us here on Joy News Prime. Away from that, the embattled Chief Executive Officer of Menzgold Ghana, Nana Apia Mensah, popularly known as Nam1, has told an Accra High Court that he was properly authorized to operate as a gold buying company. Nam1 is facing 39 charges, including selling gold without a license, fraudulent breach of trust, defrauding by false pretense, and money laundering, after allegedly using his company to defraud unsuspecting individuals. There's more in the following report.
Presided over by Justice Ednam Awo Kwadam and General Jurisdiction 14 of the Accra High Court, Nam1 was taken through cross-examination, during which he maintained that, contrary to the prosecution's claims, his company A2, thus Menzgold, was duly licensed and incorporated to engage in gold mining and purchasing, value addition and export activities. In his responses, Nam1 told the court that the company initially applied to the then Precious Minerals Marketing Company, PMMC, completed the required documentation, paid the relevant fees, and underwent regulatory scrutiny before being granted a license to operate. He further explained that following PMMC's reclassification as a National Assay Office, Menzgold was advised to apply to the Minerals Commission, where it again went through all statutory processes, including the submission of a comprehensive operational profile, payment of fees and execution of the necessary documents, and was given the approvals. When asked to produce evidence of the licenses, Namwan said he would present the documents before the next agenda date. He explained that after the company was shut down by the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO took control of its offices, many documents could not be accounted for, potentially affecting his access to valuable evidence in defense of the allegations that have been leveled against him. For the convener of the aggrieved customers of Menzgold, Frederick Forsen, he claims that more than 200 members have died over the years due to frustration arising from non-payment of their investments.
We had called for daily trial. So today being Monday, we were thinking that we could come 1 or 2 days before the week ends. But we don't know the diary of the courts and that of the lawyers. And so I think that's the scheduled date, and we will abide by it. Just that we want to use the medium to appeal to the courts that we should resume that daily trial before the prima facie case was established. That time we were doing daily trial and the case went well, because for you know, we have spent almost 8 years when this matter broke. And so at this stage that we are doing the cross-examination for number one, we believe that daily trial will help us. Last 3 weeks, we buried 3 people in Takwa. And so as for the destruction and the deterioration, it's still going on. We are not seeing any hope.
Meanwhile, the case has been adjourned to the 19th of February. For Joy News, I'm Fatal Bayaga, Accra.
Away from the court, the coalition against illegal mining is maintaining pressure on local authorities over illegal mining activities, insisting on the removal of municipal chief executives, MCEs, and district chief executives in areas heavily affected by illegal mining, despite the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS, intensifying its operations. Over the weekend, NIMOS operation targeted illegal mining operating along the Butre River in the Ahanta West District and other affected areas in the western and eastern regions, seizing 16 excavators and destroying 20 chamfan machines, along with 12 pumping machines. Erastus Asaridonko has more in the following report.
NIMOS initiated a major raid on illegal miners who had blocked portions of the Butre River and its tributaries, mining within the basin. The miners bolted, but a search conducted at the site, christened Agenda 111, revealed 7 pump-action guns and 12 rounds of ammunition. Some explosives found at the site were destroyed by experts on the task force. 16 excavators were seized from separate illegal mining camps in the Ahanta West and Etiwa West districts of the eastern region. The team raided illegal mining camps at the rubber plantation at Ahanta Besiase and Abasi Tumentu at Cape 3 Points. In Ahanta West, within Cape 3 Points Forest Reserve, a man who identified himself as Bright Mensa on board a white pickup with registration number GT829924, who claimed ownership of the illegal mining site, attempted to bribe the team with 20,000 cedis. He and 4 of his colleagues were arrested and handed over to the Ebra police station in the Aguna Nkwanta district. NIMOS also raided illegal mining sites at Mampong Sankubiase in the Etiwa West district, where they seized 6 excavators in illegal mining along the stream Asukoko, a tributary of the Brim River. 20 chamfan machines were burnt at Fiachi in the Ahanta West district of the western region. NIMOS also disrupted mining along the Achem-Tachiman highway in the eastern region. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaridonko, Kumasi.
Well, despite the work by NIMOS, a convener for the coalition against illegal mining, Engineer Kenneth Ashigbe, argues that while the fight has intensified efforts, local oversight remains inadequate.
You see, the MCs, the DCs are the president's representative in those communities. And so when Galamsey is happening in those communities, and then what are they doing as representatives of His Excellency the President? And we know that His Excellency himself had said one of the major KPIs so far as the fight against this illegality was concerned was going to be holding our MCs and our DCs accountable. Unfortunately, to date, we've not seen anything like that happening. And some of these arrests that NIMOS has done, they are all happening within districts. And there are district MCs and DCs who are responsible. And so they need to support the president in his effort, because in as much as Galamsey is a national problem, the solution to it is local. And we need to start, they are the first people we should be holding accountable.
Well, let's move on to some other story. The Tano and Via irrigation dams, once a reliable lifeline for dry season farming in the Upper East region, are now undergoing threat. Rising temperatures, erratic rainfall, and prolonged dry spells linked to climate change are reducing water levels and disrupting carefully planned irrigation schedules. The dams are being pushed beyond what they were originally designed to handle, and farmers are constantly racing against time to avoid post-harvest losses. For Climate Evidence tonight, here is a Joy News special by Albert Sori.
The Tono Dam, located in Navrongo in the Kasna-Nankana municipality, and the Via Dam, located in the Bongo district, have for decades sustained thousands of smallholder farmers. Constructed in the 1970s, the dams were designed to support dry season farming and stabilize food production in one of the country's most climate vulnerable zones. Today, however, that lifeline is under increasing threat. Climate change, defined as long-term changes in temperature, rainfall patterns, and weather extremes, largely driven by human activities such as fossil fuel use and deforestation, is putting unprecedented pressure on the Tono and Via irrigation dams and the farming communities that depend on them. According to the irrigation company of Upper Region, ICOR, which manages both facilities, rising temperatures and erratic rainfall have made it increasingly difficult to operate the irrigation schemes as planned. Dominic Anargede is acting managing director of ICOR.
In those days, by April, May will start rainy season. These days will start somewhere June, July. What it means is that we are not longer able to maintain what we call our crop calendar, and we have to give what we call supplementary irrigation. And supplementary irrigation is supposed to just supplement the efforts of the rainfall, but sometimes you end up giving too much water even during that period.
As the rainfall has become more unreliable across the region, more people are moving closer to the dams to engage in irrigated farming.
Climate change has pushed some farmers to now want to farm around the buffer zone, and that also pushes some debris into the dam. We have been fighting that.
Downstream in the lowlands under the Tono irrigation scheme, farmers are facing mounting uncertainty. Some currently risk losing their crops because ICOR must halt water supply to allow for canal cleaning and maintenance ahead of the dry season farming window.
Farmers were not able to go in the time they were supposed to. The rains did not come for them to start early. And the ICOR calendar. So if the farmer is not able to fall in line with the ICOR calendar, then at the time his crop will still need water. That is the time ICOR might want to carry out maintenance.
ICOR maintains that the irrigation calendar must be followed to ensure long-term functionality of the system.
A number of farmers, just a few of them, are having harvested, and their demand was to open water again. Can you imagine that? And that is supposed to be the rainy season, which started somewhere June, July. So see that the main rain will stop, but we still have to supply water to supplement that rainy season.
Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sori, Tono, Upper East region.
This story is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with CDKN Ghana, University of Ghana Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies, with funding from Claire R4I Opportunities Fund.
Let's now shift our attention to health, because the Health Minister, Kpandai Kando, has called on all MDCEs in the OT region to, as a matter of urgency, direct a good amount of internally generated funds towards improving health service delivery in that region. It says a committee has been set up to undertake a comprehensive review of health infrastructure in the region. This, it says, is to address the poor performance of the region in terms of quality health delivery. Correspondent Peter Seno has more in the following report.
First point of call was the proposed site for the construction of the regional hospital. His main concern was for the provision of a clean parcel of land devoid of litigation now and in the future. The minister also visited the Dambaye Health Center, now referred to as Dambaye Polyclinic. He says health indicators for the region are not looking good, hence the need to visit the region to meet all stakeholders.
As part of our retreat to analyze 2025 and to do projections into 2026, we realized that most of the health outcomes from OT are very bad. And so it needed some urgent attention. So since yesterday, we've had a very warm reception, trying to find solutions to turn the things, the outcomes or the narrative around. As part of that, I have instructed for a committee to do a complete and a comprehensive audit of the whole health facilities in the region. And quite apart from that, we realized that health professionals do not accept postings into this part of the country. A typical example is the fact that in 2025, we posted about 25 medical doctors, and as I speak to you now, only 2 have reported. So we decided to come down, engage all stakeholders. The challenge is such that no one person can sit anywhere and prefer solutions to the challenges. We all know that health is very essential. And as part of the solutions, certain measures have been proposed. Fortunately enough, all stakeholders have agreed to stand by those measures that have been proposed, i.e. looking for befitting accommodations for health professionals, putting some vehicles at their disposal, some internally arranged allowances to motivate them to come into the region. And I have made a point from government's perspective, we are committed to doing our part. I don't see how we are going to change our position on the postings we have already done.
The next point of call was the Rara Government Hospital, where one of the 2 doctors who had reported for duty out of 25 posted to the region in 2025 was working. Then to the Jasikan Municipal Hospital for inspection and a mini deba with the health staff. The 2 doctors were presented with a cash amount of 10,000 cedis each as a motivation for their service rendered so far and for accepting to report for duty despite the mass rejection for call to duty.
They say I should say ministerial. And so I have in my house some 10,000 Ghana cedis for you.
Here is what they have to say about their working experiences in the region.
And my benefactor, he is not here. He was the one who, in fact, advised me to come to this region. And I am very grateful to him. He's called Mala Umar. He's not here, but I am very, very much grateful to him for having given me this advice. My boss has been very supportive, and our regional director has also been very, very supportive, because I remember visiting the directorate once and sat with the team and had a nice conversation, and all that made me to want to stay in the region.
Prior to this, I was working at Accra, so I actually have the history of moving from place to place, so it wasn't really new. But what I like about Rara is the mountains, actually, and the weather has been quite nice. The people too are lovely to work with, so I've not faced any challenges yet. But true, it is a deprived area, so we have challenges peculiar to working in deprived areas, but then it's not anything that we can surmount.
The minister emphasized that government is not going to compel any doctor to report to work, but would not do anything about the postings made. We bring you other developments in this regard in subsequent bulletins. Peter Senu for Joy News.
Well, a devastating early morning fire at Tolon Senior High School in the northern region has displaced 346 students, with 127 female students asked to go home for a week after their dormitory and belongings were destroyed. The blaze, which started around 7 a.m., destroyed 3 rooms in the one-story building, completely leveling 2 of them. This marks the second fire incident at the school's girls' dormitory following a similar blaze in 2022.
There have been 2 separate fires affecting 2 schools, the Tolong Senior High School Girls' Dormitory and the Northern School of Business Girls' Dormitory in the space of 1 week. These fires have destroyed properties including books, mattresses, uniforms, among others. This morning's fire at the Tolong Senior High School affected 3 rooms. Addressing the media, the Northern Regional Minister, Adolf John Ali, said those who are badly affected have been given a 1-week external exit while school authorities rally around to find space for their return.
The Director of Education, District Director, and then the Headmaster have decided that we'll do a similar thing here. Those who are severely affected will be given some form of external exit so that they can go home and then prepare a bit and then come back within 1 week. Within 1 week. And I'm sure within this 1 week period, the headmaster and his able lieutenants around him would have found some temporary way of handling them when they come back.
The Northern Regional Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Fire Service, Assistant Divisional Officer Grade 1, Baba Hudu, said the combustible materials in the room intensified the heat, reason for the serious damage that occurred.
Due to the number of students in the dormitory, the combustible material contained in these rooms are massive. They are many, stemming from chop boxes, mattresses, books, food, and other personal belongings. Intensify the heat content of the fire. And that is the reason why we saw the damages like that.
Deputy Director of the GET Fund Administration, Alhassan Dandawa, also saw at Tolong to sympathize with the students.
When you look at what happened in the School and then Tolong, all has to do with girls' dormitory, not boys' dormitory. So I want to believe that there's a problem somewhere. If we don't fix the problem, trust me, we'll continue to experience.
Well, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly today carried out a major decongestion exercise in the Central Business District, targeting traders operating on pavement and alleyways and other unauthorized spaces in the capital. The operation followed the expiration of a January 31 deadline earlier given to traders to vacate prohibited areas within the city, with the AMA saying similar exercises will be extended to other parts of the Central Business District as enforcement is intensified in the coming days. Michelle Latte joined the decongestion exercise and filed the following report.
Day 2 of the AMA's decongestion exercise in the Central Business District saw task force members clearing traders operating on pavements, alleyways, and other unauthorized spaces along the Kimbutudu stretch. Some traders who failed to comply with earlier directives had their goods seized as enforcement intensified across the area. Addressing the media, the Accra Mayor, Michael Lalote, said the Assembly will strictly enforce city regulations as part of efforts to restore order within Accra's busiest commercial zones.
This is day 2 of the decongestion. We started it last year. I said it wasn't a 9-day wonder. You can see that what I said was true. We are back, and now we are able to have the pavement for the people to walk. Even some of the people have forgotten that there's a pavement for them to walk because they've been passing on the street all the time. But I can promise you and assure you that this time we will enforce the laws, we'll make the law work.
Meanwhile, a visit by the mayor and his team to the Salaga Market project showed the facility nearing its roofing stage. He assured that work will continue to ensure the market is ready by the end of March to accommodate traders.
As I'm talking to you, we went to the Salaga Market. I want people to see we are not just doing decongestion, but we are building the market as we promised. So work is ongoing at the market. That when we finish the market, we'll move some of the women which are behind the red lines. We'll move them back to the market. For so far, so good.
At Kantamato Market, some traders occupying frontage areas and pavements protested after being directed to vacate their spaces, prompting the intervention of the Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu. The minister directed that trading boundaries be clearly marked to regulate activities in the area rather than an immediate eviction of the traders. The decongestion exercise is expected to continue in the coming days, with Tuesday's operation focusing on the Agbobloshi market. For Joy News, Michelle Lati.
You're still watching Joy News Prime with me, Carlos Kaloni. We'll take a short break. When we return, we have Showbiz. Welcome back on It's Showbiz Time. Becky is here. Becky.
Hello to you.
It's a Monday.
Yeah, good to see you.
How's your weekend?
My weekend was fantastic.
Wow.
I had a good rest, and like we always do all the time, when it comes to Monday, we give you a wrap of everything that has happened at the weekend, and this evening is no exception. We're bringing to you everything that you've missed at the weekend. Well, on that note, we end Showbiz here on Joy News Prime. We'll be back tomorrow for even more thrilling edition of the show. Thank you so much for having me here on the show.
Thank you for coming and giving us those beautiful stories. Well, that's all we have time for. You can log on to myjoyonline.com for more stories. Bye-bye.